Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Wednesdays Reflexology Wisdom. And today we continue through the 2000s. We're at 2007 and today we are going to be looking at Ann Gillanders, who was one of the pioneers in the UK for reflexology. She started as a reflexologist in the 1970s at the British School of Reflexology. And we've already looked at the charts by Doreen Bailey. I was just having to look back up there just then because I'd suddenly forgot her name. How could I forget Doreen Bailey? But she worked with Doreen Bailey at the British School of Reflexology. And so we're going to have a look and see how the charts have evolved and also perhaps see what similarities we have got. So here we have Ann Gillanders' plantar aspect of the foot, and there are some immediate things that strike me in that in our last episode of Wednesday's Reflexology Wisdom we could see how the foot charts were getting busier and busier and busier. We were looking at Lynn Booth's in particular, where there were loads and loads more reflex points that had been added to the charts. And here we have got a chart that is back to the simplicity of Eunice Ingham's, and it's far more detailed than Doreen Bailey's. If you want to go back and look at Doreen Bailey's episode, you'll be able to see that there are loads more reflex charted here. So in the British School of Reflexology, there is evolvement, but nothing like the content that Lynn Booth has put in. So that's the first striking thing. But the thing that I do like about this is because it's uncomplicated, it is really easy to find the key reflexes. Now, coming on to some of the similarities between Doreen Bailey and Ann Gillanders, the kidney reflex is tiny, and on Doreen Bailey's it was so too. Nice thing is that we now have a sweep into the bladder instead of just a very basic straight line. Glad to see the adrenals are in zone 1. This is where I place them myself as well, so superior and medially to the kidneys. That's absolutely wonderful. One of the things that I was really struck by, and I haven't seen this on anybody else's chart, is the solar plexus reflex, which is located only on the plantar left foot. So we've just got one solar plexus. And I'm guessing that Anne is thinking, well, there is only one solar plexus. And so she has put that there. The heart I do like in that it is central and left, rather than just equal. A lot of people just put it equal underneath the big toe. So that's really, really good to see as well. But also something very, very unique on the sole of the foot just here is where she places the eye and ear reflex. It's actually on the toes, not where you have got the well, it's where I put the trapezius, but a lot of people place it on the pad of the top of the foot. But she places it distinctly, actually on the toes. So that's really interesting. Now we're going to then move into the next page. And you'll be able to see here, again, not a lot going on. Not so many reflexes at all. But we do have the cranial nerve, so that's a lovely, interesting addition. You've also got the teeth, just as Hannah Marquardt would place the teeth in. I must admit I placed them slightly differently, but that's absolutely fine. We have also got the breast reflex. Unlike Christorma, we're back onto the dorsal aspect of the foot rather than the plantar aspect of the foot. And the other thing that I do like to see, although I personally preferred the way that Eunice Ingham first started drawing them in, and then Laura Norman also drew them in this way. We've got the ribs just here. Of course, the way that Eunice Ingham, Laura Norman would have drawn them, that she actually showed them coming down as the metatarsals representing the ribs. Finally, coming on to this last page, again, as we can see, it's not so many reflexes shown. But here we go, another area where there does seem to always be differences with the reflex points, and that is Ann Gillanders doesn't have an arm and she doesn't have a leg. So no arm and no leg at all. We've got the hip, we've got the elbow, we've got the knee, and then back onto the plantar aspect, we've got the shoulder, but we don't have an arm and a leg. So in some ways, I'm thinking we're kind of taking a step back in design, even though we are moving forward chronologically. I do love that this is an anatomical chart rather than what I would call an experiential chart. So everything, if you were to be superimposing the body over the feet, everything is as you would expect it to be, where you would expect to find it. But as far as detail is concerned, well, whether you agree with me or not, I'm looking at this and thinking at the chronological time that this chart is published, 2007, it does seem to be rather bare. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed looking at Ann Gillanders' charts. You might not agree with me that that they are a little bit bare, so to speak, but I'm just saying, as I'm looking at it, it's just my personal opinion. One thing as well that's been said to me on social media is, oh, you've forgotten to such and such a person's chart. I have reached out to quite a few reflexologists. Some of them have sent in charts, and they're going to be, well, some of them have already been in, such as Lynn Booth. She kindly sent me hers. Some people are sending me charts, and some people have said, I'd rather not have my chart looked at on social media. Either they've got copyright issues that they would rather me not present them, or they're part of somebody's course. So that's why we've got some small gaps missing on this series. Next week, we're going to potentially get even more controversial. As you may remember, when I was looking at Laura Norman's chart, I was saying this one is often copied, never equaled. And we're going to be looking at somebody's chart next week, and there are some very clear copies. So, controversy coming up. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. And until then, stay well and stay safe.